Two-time U.S. Open 9-ball champion. Dynamite, Darren, Appleton.
I came from the mud.
Looks good. Looks good. It is good.
The most important one was winning the World 10-ball championship because it's everyone's dream to be world champion.
Couldn't go into the edge of this.
I'm a grinder, fighter, play with a lot of emotion, a lot of art. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Back to Basics edition. Today we're going to speak about the stance, going to try and show you one or two things. But the big thing with the stance is that no two players really stand the same, or very rarely. Everyone's a different size, different body weight, so that can play a big part also. But anyway, the big thing with the stance is finding the right balance and the right setup for yourself. I've tinkered around a lot in the past, especially when I was when I played English 8-ball, played a little bit snooker, probably stood a little bit more square on back in them days because it was more of a technical game compared to American style pull where you need that little bit more freedom, bringing that cue away just fractionally away from your body so you can get that power into your game, spin the cue ball around a lot more compared to snooker and English 8-ball. It's just you don't have to move the cue ball around as much, and you don't need to play those big power shots as much. So that's the main reason why American style pool players will stand a little bit more sideways on, with that bit more freedom with their cue compared to a snooker style player who like to stand a little bit more square on and keep everything nice and compact and technical. Anyway, we'll go over a few things and hopefully I can help you. Right, so let's go straight into it. So, American style pool players, let's say English 8-ball, especially snooker, the reason why they stand different and what I think is the best stance, I'll try and explain the best I can. But like I said before, you have to find the right stance for yourself. But for me, it all starts with a pre-shot routine. Again, if you just play a shot, come round for the next shot and get straight down, the odds are you're going to be slightly off balance. The weight might be a little bit on your left, a little bit on your right. You're swaying a little bit on your shot. I've seen it over and over again. And again, it's all about the pre-shot. So if you get your pre-shot and then step into your shot, into your stance, then that should tell you exactly where you need to stand. But a key again is having that balance. But first, let's just go over. Let's say a standing more square on like a snooker style player. Not every snooker player does it, but most snooker players will stand a lot more square on. So what I mean by that is that they'll have these both feet pretty much in a straight line. So when they get down, they come over and the cue is going into their body. Let's get a little bit closer to the table so I'm a bit more comfortable. So everything's nice and square. So when they get down to the shot, the cue is more or less touching their chest. And in a lot of cases, it does touch their chest. But this allows them to look right down the barrel. Everything's nice and compact, as you can see. I'm cueing across my body. My chin is on the cue, which most snooker players like to do that. So that keeps everything very tight and technical and stable. So when they go through the ball, they know that not a lot can go wrong, especially when you're playing like long distance shots. But like I said before, with snooker, you don't have to move the cue ball around as much. You don't need that big power game. Most of your shots you're playing are like stop shots or little screw shots or like just follow shots. You play a little bit of English here and there, but in general, you're just trying to get really good contact on the cue ball and making sure everything's nice and stable and going through in a straight line. So that's the reason why you'll see a lot of snooker players playing that way. Where American pool, we like to have that little bit more freedom. So if we did the same, it'd be very difficult for us to move the cue ball around with any power because you're too compact, your body's in the way, you lose a lot of feel. It's going to be hard to have that big power stroke, and it's going to be harder to spin the ball. So in American pool, we like to just lead a little bit with our left foot. Obviously, if you're left-handed, it'd be your right foot. So I like to just have my feet pretty close together like this to start with. Look at my target, find my line. That's very important. So now my feet should tell me what to do. So I'll just take a little step with my right, just fractionally to the right, and then step in with my left just like this. So when I get down to the shot now, everything's nice and balanced. So I want like what I call like a boxing stance, where it's very difficult to push me over. You don't want to be losing your balance. Or like a walking stance. So when I'm walking, this would be my normal walk. So everything's nice and balanced, compact, but more importantly for me is that my feet are pointing towards the target. I see so many amateurs and even some pros, their feet, they have one of their foot pointing that way, and another foot pointing that way. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I understand if you're really tall and you've got to really spread out. I sort of get that, but in general, I like my feet pointing towards the target. So again, just like to step in with my right and then step in with my left. So when I get down to the shot, I should land exactly where I want to be to address the cue ball. So that was about perfect. So also you'll see now that my right foot is more or less in line with my right shoulder, and my left foot is in line with my left shoulder. And my left foot is about half a foot in front of my right. And everything just feels nice and compact. It's not over. Where if I stood like that, like a lot of pool players do, like further back, then for me, the problem with that is that I feel like the cue is a little bit too far away from my body, like this. And it's very easy to just come across the cue ball like this. So what I mean by like that is that a lot of players, they'll come across the ball like this. So then you're getting that unwanted English. So for me, I like to find the right balance between having the freedom and keeping really compact at the same time. And I think more of the new generation players are starting to do this also. So again, I don't want to be too far back on my stance or too far in front with my lead leg. So again, just stepping with my right, just set up again, a little step with my right, stepping with my left, so everything's nice and balanced. I'm pretty close to my body, but I still have plenty of freedom. The cue isn't touching my body, and I never put my chin against the cue, just for the same reasons again. I want that little bit of freedom to be able to move the cue ball around, but also being able to play those power shots when I'm needed to. So that for me is just the perfect stance for me, really. So when I get down now, everything's nice and compact. My forearm is pointing towards my right foot, like I said. I've got really good balance and I'm facing the target. So that's very important, and that's what works best for me. So yeah, like I said before, the number one key really is finding balance, getting your pre-shot routine so that when you go into the shot, then your stance should really set up itself really, and then it's just all about finding that balance, feeling comfortable on the shot, and putting really good executions on the shot. And then I think if you do that, then eventually you won't think so much about what is the right stance. Am I standing right? It should really come natural, and something just to work on. I mean, I have tinkered a little bit with my stances over the years, but in general, I like to keep it nice and compact, and just as I showed you there. I hope you can get something from it. If you can't get something from it, then try and just like figure maybe I could try maybe something a little bit different just to improve your own, and I'm pretty sure if you do that, it will benefit the rest of your game also. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.